Today we're going to be talking about the exact gear setup that I took to hike 100 miles on the Appalachian Trail. If you want to see the trail and the trip itself, we'll drop a link up here so that you can click that and go watch that trip before the gear loadout video. We averaged over 25 miles a day, so it was extremely important that the gear was streamlined and efficient, which is why this pack came in at exactly a 10-pound base weight. I did have a little bit of camera equipment, which we'll get into, that also added just a hair over that, but 10 pounds was extremely nice to have for 4 days to cover 100 miles and climb over 20,000 feet of elevation gain. All right, so let's go ahead and start with what I was wearing. Now, some of the clothes that I was wearing was actually in the pack because I took duplicates of them, but the other things that I had here are obviously my Carbon Cloud 3s from Comperdale, my trekking poles. Those go with me everywhere. I had my Sense Ride 4s from Salomon. These have been a pretty solid shoe, although I did pick up a new pair of shoes that I'll be testing out here soon. And I also utilize Gaiters. Now, for those of you that don't know what these are actually from Ultimate Direction. And typically, they would have a strap that goes down and underneath the bottom of your foot. I did wear through that on the Appalachian Trail, so I'll need to replace that or tie my own. But what this does is it sits on top of your shoe, kind of snugs down around it, so the debris can't get in the top of this. I've just found that I really enjoy not having rocks or leaves or debris get into my shoe, so I've been using these very, very consistently on my trips now. I've also got an outdoor research hat. This is just a sun hat, really breathable piece of gear that I like. And then I had these are Redfin Polarized Glasses. They have a very nice lens in them, a Leica lens, and I've started to really kind of get addicted to higher end glasses now after having a pair sent to me, so enjoyed those. As you can see, starting off, I have a Shadowlight 45-liter pack, and this was ample. I had plenty of space in here. As you can see, this top could roll up a long ways. I've actually got the sides quite compressed, so there was tons of space inside of this for all of the food, and I did bring a lot of food. Now note, I'm not gonna cover food in this, but I was bringing almost 2 pounds of food a day and eating like a king. I will show you a few snacks that are left in the bag, but we ate well to cover those miles, which is a big tip I guess you could take away, is just fueling your body right when you're asking it to go nearly 30 miles and sometimes over 30 miles on the days that you are on trail. But on the outside of the pack here, I like to keep my Garmin InReach Mini accessible and kind of on the outside to be able to get service. This is something that you'll want to see, I'll talk about in just a second. But this is what's left of my toilet paper. I've got Toke's long-handled polishable spoon, and that's it in there. On the side, I'm going to jump over here. I've actually got, this is a cheap little water bottle, bug juice bottle for kids that I get at gas stations. I picked one of those up out there and filled it full of alcohol because I was using an alcohol stove. But this is what I was looking for. This is something I've started to test out. So you may see this in the membership hopefully soon, but this is the Platypus Quick Draw water filter, and this is the dirty bag for it. Also on this side over here, we were expecting bugs, so I had some bug spray with a lot of DEET in it. Going back to right here, typically what I was carrying on the outside in this pocket was my rain gear. So this should be now something you've seen and are well aware of, but this is the Tusher rain jacket. Obviously the color is a prototype color, but this was a phenomenal piece. I actually had to do a lot of hiking in this piece because it was raining off and on, and was just exceptionally happy with the way it breathed, the lack of clamminess inside of it, lack of wetting out. It's a great piece and a very, very lightweight piece. I had some rain mitts. These have become something I've really started to enjoy. They just can add a lot of warmth. It's not necessarily so much for me to keep my hands dry as it is just keeping them warmer. It blocks the wind really, really well. And layering something like this with another liner glove has become one of my favorites as well. I don't know if I even end up using these, but they're so light. They're about an ounce, a little over an ounce, I want to say, that I've just really enjoyed having liner gloves, or excuse me, rain mitts. And then I had my staple, which is the rain skirt. So this is just a piece of sil nylon. You wrap that around your waist and it keeps the rain off of your legs. And one of the biggest parts, honestly, with that I love is just, again, keeping you warm in rain if there's wind or other things. It's just a good way to maintain body heat. I already popped this off the top. This is an absolute staple for me. This is actually the 40-inch, 8-inch closed cell foam pad that we sell on our website. Sometimes I use the 60, a lot of times I use the 40, but just an absolute staple. I sat on this, I did yoga on this, stretched out. I don't do yoga, I stretched, let's be honest. I put this underneath my pad at night so that it doesn't slip around. Just an absolute staple on the trail that I do not backpack without anymore. Moving around to this side of the pack. This is just a glasses carrying case that I have when I'm not wearing my glasses. And then up here in the top, I have, set that down, a Toaks pot, titanium 550 milliliter pot. The lid is in there, and then I have the alcohol stove portion in here. Now, something that I like to do, which I'll just show you really quick, here's my lighter, is I actually utilize a 3-piece setup. So when you buy this, it comes in 4. I just have used 3. I'm sure that wasn't loud on camera. So I'll pop these in essentially and just get away with less sections essentially, but that's my pot holder and my windscreen on trail. Really liked this, worked well out there for us. Okay, last thing on the outside compartment here was just this Aoka tripod. I believe it's their 28-inch tripod. It's quick, it's easy, it gives you a little bit of height for a little bit of angle options and differences. But this is one of the pieces of my camera gear. Okay, let's get into the inside of the pack here. And I typically access my pack always through this outside zipper. It's just convenient, nice. Right here in the top, I've got my Ventus hoodie. This piece, sometimes I would keep it in the dry bag, sometimes I wouldn't, depending on the day and the time. But a lot of times I'd kind of have it on around camp and then want to keep it accessible or just throw it in the pack as I go hiking. So that's where I like to pack it. A lot of times it's just right here in the top, so it's nice and accessible. Then right here I have my, I guess you could call it my first aid kit, but I kind of use it for a lot of different things. I started using it out there to also protect electronics. So this was not the battery bank I took. The battery bank I took was old and fried, and I already threw it away actually because I was kind of disappointed with it, and I had to borrow someone else's battery bank on the trail, which was really cool. But 10,000 milliamp battery bank, I guess, is what I'm suggesting there. That one has solar power, but I really haven't tested and vetted it. I also threw my, which I can't find the other one, 2 GoPro batteries into this, and then everything else you can find in another video, which we can link up above. The only thing that I really changed in here for this trip was, I don't know if you can see these, but I've got toothpaste tabs in this little bag, and I purchased a tiny little toothbrush, so you know, gotta count those grams when you can. Right here, the bulk of what's in this bag is inside of this dry bag. I'll pop this open in a second, and then I've also got the 40s, and then that really is everything that's in this main compartment. So the first thing here in the top of this bag, this dry bag, is a prototype sleeping pad. I'm not gonna show you this, but this was extremely comfortable. It's a little bit more weight than another pad I've been using recently, but the comfort was well worth the few ounces. So I really did like that. This is a 3-season pad. Didn't even really need to be because it was quite hot out there. We slept quite hot, and I'll talk about that when I get to my top quilt here. Now, I typically only had 1 pair of socks in here, but I brought 2 because I wanted to show you these. I had a pair of Darn Tough lightweight hikers. That's kind of a go-to sock for me. And I also brought this kind of weird looking sock here, which are my Injinji toe socks. According to Tyler, who did the hike with me, these are the reason I'm having knee problems, clearly. So no, but those worked out well. I do like to have one of each because there are some pros and cons to those socks. If you want to see me talk about some of those, maybe drop that in the comments below. Another thing, I had a lightweight pair of merino wool gloves. I never used these on the trail. That doesn't mean that I probably wouldn't take them again, but I did never actually use those, but just a lightweight pair of merino wool gloves. Okay, this is what I was wearing each and every day. This is the Altitude hoodie. This is the blue one, obviously. I had this one and a gray one. So you're talking about a 4-ounce ultralight little sun hoodie worked super well, kept me cool, kept me shaded. Just really a phenomenal piece. And I actually brought 2 of these. So the one that I was wearing and the one that I had packed in my bag so that I could alternate those during the trip, or sleep in one, wear the other one during the day. I typically like to bring 2 tops like that, or I like to bring sleeping gear essentially so I can alternate and switch out of stuff. Especially if you're pulling up to camp and you're wet. It's just never pleasant to climb in your tent, be soaking wet, have to get into your bag wet, etc. I'd rather be able to take off my wet stuff, hang it up, change into dry stuff, and get to sleep quicker. These right here are these are actually a Nike training short. I had a different pair of shorts that were very, very similar to these. I believe these ones might be the 9-inch Nike Challenger shorts, but these work really, really well. I actually cut the liner out of these. Most people like the liner in them. I've done that a lot, but what I found is that on long exertions, I start to get sweaty enough that the liner starts to bag out and I'll start to chafe, which is why I paired that with just a very cheap compression short. I actually just bought these on Amazon. I'll probably buy a nicer set in the future, but I wanted to give this a go. So these are just a spandex liner essentially that kept me from chafing. These are super light, dry super, super fast. And so that combination for me kept me from chafing on the trail, whether I'm sweating, getting hot, doing big miles, whatever it is. It was a great combination for sure for me. So, and both of those are also quite light. I mean, these add a little bit of weight because there's the spandex in them, but well worth it. Okay, then I had this is actually a member exclusive pillow that we did a while ago, but this is our Outdoor Vitals pillow. Just in a brown color. And the last thing in here is my top quilt. So I had the 30-degree long wide top quilt. This worked excellent for me. The best nights on trail were definitely the nights that I could even get in it because it was quite hot out there. So I didn't use it to its full capacity, but 30-degree would probably be about right. It did have nights projected where it was going to get quite cold. You could probably be using a slightly warmer quilt if you chose to. I know Tyler brought a 15-degree quilt, and I don't think he got in the quilt the entire time. This is a dry bag. These actually come with our Summit sleeping bags now. So if you want one of those, we should maybe be getting them on the website at some point. The Coda UL also has accessories. Actually, this one is the Coda ULs, but all very similar dry bags if you want to have a dry bag to pack inside your backpack. And last but not least was the Fortius one-person tent. I cannot say enough good things about this out there because there were spiders everywhere. I think there's about 100,000 spiders for every square mile in Virginia. It was ridiculous. That's everything that was in the main body of my tent. Now let's talk about 2 other areas. You'll see here, I've got this carrying bottle. I did not carry this big of a water bottle in it. This is a 1 liter. I actually had 3 of these in these pockets here, so 2 on this side, 1 on this side, and then I had a smaller water bottle that I was using here. I did not need that much water carry. By the end, I usually just had a lot of empty bottles because we found out pretty quick that you did not need that much water on the AT. But this piece right here, move that out of the way. This piece is from Chicken Tramper Gear. Just wanted to try something out like that. And it's quite heavy, quite robust, but I did like the idea and the use of it. There's probably some other models out there that I will look at in the future because this just it almost felt overbuilt, and it's probably a slightly larger size than I needed. But overall, it was solid, and I did enjoy that, having that on the pack this trip. Right here in this hip belt pocket, I would keep the GoPro. So that goes into the kind of that extra little camera gear, the tripod, the GoPro, the batteries. And then on this side, here's where the real magic was kept. I now keep a full compartment essentially full of snacks. And the reason why is we actually got asked on trail how we were doing 20-mile days. And you know, as we started to break down the way that we organize the day and how we do it, because this person was kind of working his way up to a 20-mile day. We were doing 25 to 33-mile days. And to me, a big component of that is just fueling and hydrating your body right throughout the entire day. So I always have a full snack pocket, and I'm eating snacks every 1 to 2 hours between meals. So inside of here, this is a Scratch Labs Rice Krispie. I had another Scratch Labs granola bar. I had a Honey Stinger waffle. And then I have some hydration mixes. So this is a Scratch Labs hydration mix. This is probably your cheapest way to get electrolytes on the trail. These are just Himalayan salt capsules. So, you know, you can take those to get salt and electrolytes on the trail. I like to kind of do a little bit of both because I do like drink mixes. So as you can see, I also have another Scratch Labs. This is a Mountain Ops electrolyte packet. I just kind of mix a bunch of things because I have to drink a lot of salt as per what my body demands. Another electrolyte packet. And then I've got a few other goodies. I like to keep my headlamp very accessible. And so I typically will keep it zipped right here. I do keep it locked. This one's a black diamond little headlamp. It's been pretty solid headlamp for me, but again, I don't know that I recommend. I just recommend you get a name brand headlamp, whether that's a Nightcore, a Petzl, a black diamond, all ones I've had really good luck with, but just a small one. This one I actually, in the video, we had an intruder in our camp, and this one was not bright enough for me to see the intruder. And so that was the first time I was like, maybe I want a slightly bigger headlamp. Last couple items here, a little tiny thing of lip balm, which I did use quite a lot. This is a little face stick. I'm typically, because I'm wearing sun hoodies and whatnot, I just bring sunscreen for my face and then chapstick. And the very last thing I have in here is the Gerber Dime multi-tool. So pretty useful little piece. It's got your knife, scissors, tweezers, things like that on here. I may actually go for a lighter piece in the future and just use this whenever I think I might be doing any kind of fishing or things, because it's slightly heavier than it probably needs to be. So, okay, that's it, guys. That is everything that I took on the Appalachian Trail, where we were crushing 25 to 33 miles a day. If you're gonna try to crush that many miles, I do suggest getting your base weight down to the 10 to 12 pound range. You'll feel a lot better at the end of the day, and you'll feel a lot more light and free to crush those miles. If you've got comments or questions, drop them down below. Tell me what you would change about my gear loadout, and we'll see you guys in the next video.